We'll talk about watermarking, or this notion that you can add additional information into a file in order to verify the author, verify the ownership of it, or other aspects of a document. The reason you would add watermarking to a file is that you can prove where the file came from. You can also add a digital signature to the file so that you can prove that the file hasn't changed. And as digital is now becoming the norm for sharing documents and information, watermarking seems to be a necessity for some companies who want to make sure that data's not being, or their files aren't being modified, and that they can maintain some type of ownership over them. Two main reasons for using watermarking. First is copyright protection. You as a content provider or a data owner, you want to be able to track the movement of this content. You want to make sure people pay for the content that they should be paying for. And so by putting a watermark in these files, what you're doing is adding a deterrence that says if you post this file out on the internet, we will know who it attributes to. And so you can do that by hiding the watermark information in the file, making it very hard to detect and remove, or otherwise alter or forge the watermark in there. Generally, these have minimal content interference, so you can add a watermark to a music file, a video file, and not have it be obtrusive to the point where you've got, this copy belongs to, person XYZ. You don't have to do that. You can hide it within the information using steganographic methods and still preserve that digital identification piece. And you can also add signatures to it such that you can protect against data manipulation. From authentication piece, you can fingerprint or sign a document. Again, it's meant to prevent tampering with the document. You see this a lot with legal documents or contracts that people are signing. And it should be able to, the watermark on it should be able to handle people copying the files, emailing it to other business associates, and that sort of thing. If it doesn't, it's probably not a really good solution. What do you need for digital watermarking? Well, in order for it to be an effective system, you really should be unobtrusive, meaning you don't need a red flashing box on a video that says this is protected content. Maybe if you want to be draconian about it, go for it. But with digital watermarking, you don't need to do that and still preserve the watermark. You can make them relatively invisible. It needs to be robust such that people can't modify that watermark or remove the watermark either accidentally or intentionally. And the watermark itself should be able to be seen by the owner through some unambiguous method. So what you'll see is that you've got systems in place to run content through, and it will tell you, yes, this is a watermarked file, or no, it's not. But you really want that to be able to work repeatably, reliably, and not be so cumbersome that it takes forever to run. Because if you get it done right, you can do it actually in near real time and be able to detect these watermarks as they're transiting the network too. So it goes back to DLP with data leakage prevention. You can use watermarks as a way of detecting sensitive data as it's transiting your network. There are two primary components in a watermarking architecture. You have the embedder. This is the system, software, whatever the case may be, that is adding the digital watermark to the file, the carrier file that you've got, be it a Word document, a PDF. And then you've got some type of detector, again, program, hardware, whatever the case may be, to look at those carrier files and determine whether the watermark exists, whether the watermark's been corrupted, and therefore the file's been corrupted. But generally, you'll have an embedder and a detector working together to add watermarks to files and determine whether they've been removed, altered, or just detect the presence of on a network. For architecture methods, there are a couple different ways of adding information to a file. You can do this through spatial domain techniques, which changes just the color of pixels in an image, let's say, or changes the intensity of a color in a pixel in a picture. And this is very easy computationally, so you see this being done for wide, high-use implementations. And then you can do frequency domain techniques as well, where you're embedding the watermark information into the image, and it's very robust. It's usually not detectable by the naked eye. You really have to do some type of pattern analysis on it to actually see the fact that there's an image in there, or a watermark in there. And so this is really good for content where you want to preserve the fact that there's a watermark in there and you don't want to alter the underlying content in any way, shape, or form.